and welcome back to Redirecting. Are you all redirecting yet? Have you changed course yet, family? In another video, I mentioned a young woman who is a teen and she has a 1 year old child. Okay. And I mentioned her for this reason. I was talking about young people who are doing things that um, are meant to improve their lives and ways that they can do this to make things easier. Now, in her particular case, I'm just going to get right into it. It says this teen lives in a tiny house, okay, with her 1 year old son. It was a shed that was converted into a tiny house. Now, if I remember, I will leave the link in the description area. Now, a lot of young people find themselves in certain situations. Of course, you want to teach them and train them up in the way that they should go so that they don't fall into certain traps and snares in life. This young woman, she is in college. Um, she has a child and she lives in a shed that was converted into a tiny home. But what's unique about her situation is this, and I love this idea. You know, sometimes the young people, when they get a certain age and they get out there and they get into things, sometimes they clash or bump heads with their parents, right? In her case, I'm looking on the side here. She actually has a video where she says she ran away and she got pregnant at 15. So she's young, okay? But let me tell you the move that she made. And her mom, she got this shed and it is actually on her mom's property, okay? Turned it into a home so she's able to live close by, live near her mom, but she has her own separate space. She has her own separate space and she's doing her thing. She's raising her son, she's in school and handling her business in that regard. Now, we're not, like I said, I'm not getting off into all the other stuff that led up to that, okay? But I'm starting from where she is now. And I hope this will inspire other young women to not give up on life when you fall into certain situations. But the goal is not to fall into those situations. That is the goal. I do have viewers that watch this channel who have not gotten into these situations. And I just want to encourage you to keep yourself on the straight and narrow. Okay. If you haven't gotten yourself into certain situations, just try to keep it that way. But if you found yourself already in these situations, don't give up. And for you parents who have young people that you're trying to help get over a hump or a situation that they've themselves into, whether it is your teenage daughter or whether it's your son, you don't want to put them out into the world or push them out into the world and you want to help them. This is a great way. When I saw this, I said, wow, this is an excellent way to help your young people over a hump. You don't want them in your house because they done got beside themselves, but you can do this. Now, in another video, I'm going to talk about shed conversions. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in another video because some people have no idea what they are able to do with a shed. Okay, they have no idea, and especially if you have any relative. It doesn't just have to be a parent. It could be an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent. It can be a good friend. Or just someone that you know who is willing to do this, because I look at tiny home videos all the time, and many times these people will have individuals, whether it's someone they know or someone who's just offering the space, who will allow them to either rent the space for a very small amount or let them put their home on their land or property free. Many times it's parents who will say, okay, you know what, we have X amount of acres. Why don't you put yours here and you have your little space and you have your own living and you're separate from us, but you're close by and you don't have to worry about taxes on your property and all of that. We got all that covered. Just, a win-win for everyone. And so when I saw this story with this young woman who is essentially doing this on her mother's property, I said, this is really wonderful. Now, of course, you can't do this with everyone either. I realize that you have some young people that once you clip those wings, it's better to just let them fly on out and keep on going, right? We get that. But if you have a situation where it hasn't gotten that far and you want to help your child out, your teen or your young adult, and but you still just want them out of your space, this is a great alternative right there, because depending on where you live, you may spend they may spend anywhere from 400 to 800 a month in rent. Like I said, depending on where you live, there are some places that you're going to spend 1,200 for rent, or 1,500, depends on where you are. But when you look at it, even if you're only spending 400 and you just multiply that for a year, you probably could have bought yourself a small, even a repo shed that you can convert into a home. You see, this is part of my redirecting, family. I want to share information that is going to be usable. I know we talk about the news stuff, what's going on in the world and all of that, but we have to talk about other things as well that are going to be of benefit to us, because things are getting rough. They really are getting rough. And I understand that there are more than one thing that you have to look at when you're talking about things like this. There are attitudes and spirits and lifestyles that people have that just kind of make merging together difficult. I understand that. Okay. But I'm speaking to those who are able to do something like this where you don't have that issue. You just never thought about it. You see, grandma might be up for it. Mom or dad might be up for it. They may say, well, sure, you can put your tiny home here. You know what's sad to me? I see a lot of times where Gentiles or white people, they will have children that go off, get married, have 1 or 2 grandchildren. They get a tiny home and the offer is presented. They're like, hey, why don't you guys put your home here on our property? They say this to their children. And then it's all of a sudden like this excellent idea that these people were able to merge like this. The family were willing to call them home and share the land because they have that type of relationship, right? Now, that's a good thing. The sad thing to me is the fact that in so-called Black families and communities, like I keep saying in many of my videos, that the trust factor is just almost non-existent now. It's to the point where you can't trust people like that, not even your own family. But that is not the situation for everyone. And so if your situation finds that you can trust someone, whether it's to share land with them or whether it's to move to someone else's land and put your tiny home there, we need to find ourselves more in situations like this, because all of this struggling out here, when I hear Black families that are so dysfunctional, where everybody lives so spread out and so separate, living above their means, okay, can't afford to do things, but coming together would solve so many things, but the attitudes are so thick and ripe to where you can't come together. That really bothers me. You should be able to bring together resources and make it happen with your family or your friends. But when that becomes something that is unheard of, that means we got a lot of work to do, family, a lot of work. And so if I remember, I will put the link in the description area to this young woman's video. You can just watch it if you want. There's some things in the beginning, I think could have been done a little differently, but again, I'm not getting into all of that in this video. Okay. This is just the way she brought the video on, and she's kind of giving a tour through her place. And hopefully this will give some of you more ideas of what can be done instead of out here struggling to pay rent at some place that's overcharging or not taking care of their business or handling their business. This might be a good alternative for some if you can afford it, especially since tax time is coming up. You could literally take a tax refund, and I mean this literally. You could literally take a tax refund and get yourself a used or a repo shed. A used or repo. And sometimes the prices are so incredibly low that you would be shaking your head in disbelief. But again, I'm going to get into that in another video. I just wanted to share this young woman's story with you all and give you something else to think about in case you are in the process of redirecting. Okay, family. I mentioned before in another video that we do have channel memberships now. Please consider joining our channel membership. It's right under the video, or you can go on the channel and you'll see the join button there as well. Please consider joining the channel to support what we do here, as well as being able to have access to other content that we are going to be talking about on the back end. Okay, that is all for now, family. With that, I will say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.